Planning Commission, and I'm sure she wasn't anticipating having a big audience, so if we could just have a little more decorum, and we can get through this.
Watch your P's and Q's, you all.
Thank you.
The peanut gallery over there.
Yeah, she called you guys. She knows you guys. She knows she didn't have just met you, and she knows you guys. Yeah. Okay, so we have, so as you know, and thank you very much for rescheduling. We appreciate the fact that you were able to come in. So we have the questions which you also have, and then we're just going to go down the line. We are eliminating number 5, so don't worry about that.
Okay.
So we'll start off. I think I started you first, didn't I? Oh, Adam, let's go ahead, Adam.
Good evening. What relevant experiences, skills, and abilities have prepared you for the Planning Commission?
Jerry?
Jerry.
Sorry.
It's my turn.
I liked her already.
You need some more female help over here, bringing all these men and keeping them there.
These guys are pretty good.
Well, I was active duty for about 7 years, so I have some experience with team leadership, with I don't want to be rude with the statement, but it's sort of the bureaucracies that sometimes accompany government proceedings and circumstances and accomplishments. So I feel like having that experience can help me temper my expectations and goals when it comes to working with the government and committees. Also, as a family medicine physician, I have to lead my team, which changes from day to day. So working with different people and different expectations, different personalities is also something I'm very adept at. I also feel like I have a pretty good pulse on a good cross-section of the community as a result of originally having started my my career here in Oregon City. I was unfortunately then moved to Lake Oswego due to the job, but so I have a lot of patients that are in Oregon City, so I feel like through conversations I've sort of garnered understanding of what the community wishes are.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rocky?
All right. What is the most important goal or purpose of the Planning Commission?
In my opinion,
Yes.
I think it's to help make sure that the community, that the city is representative of the community and the community's wishes.
So this question is fairly long. How would you go about balancing code requirements, possible negative public comments, and your personal opinion while allowing reasonable development to go forward?
I think just like every other thing that I do in life. Okay. With eyes wide open, right? Understanding that I may have a personal opinion about something, just as I do when I go into an exam room with a patient. I may have a personal opinion as to whether or not I think they should get their colonoscopy or their mammogram, but that person may have their own expectations and understandings of whether or not they want to have that test. So same kind of thing that I would do here is listening to what the concerns are, listening to what the desires are, and trying to help the committee and the team navigate those expectations in a way that's healthy and acceptable for everyone, coming to a good compromise.
I'm going to touch on how do you deal with the possible, I believe it's phrased as negative public comments.
How would I deal with that personally?
Be called upon to do it.
Yeah. Well, I may cry. I may, first I'm going to have to deal with my own emotions. And that may be crying, that may be journaling, that may be whatever other coping skill I've developed. And then it's going to be going out and talking about what are your concerns, right? So asking more questions of the public. So you've mentioned that you have X concern. What else is it that you're concerned about? Is there a way that we can maybe mitigate this concern? Is there a way that we can still get the needed forward movement, but still do it in a way that feels good to everybody? And you know what? If you want your voice heard, you're going to have to start participating and not just throwing out negative comments. But
Very good. Thank you.
okay.
Okay, this one's a simple one.
Yeah.
Are you available to have the time to read the necessary materials and attend the hearings, which are generally the second, fourth Monday of each month? at 7
Second
p.m.?
and fourth Monday. Yes.
Not a problem.
Not a problem.
Okay.
Oh, I passed that one, huh?
All right. What are some of the differences between a quasi-judicial hearing and a legislative hearing?
I don't know.
Okay.
What are the differences between a quasi-judicial hearing and a legislative hearing?
Well, one type of hearing, quasi-judicial, is that the planning commission makes, we have one of our planning commission members sitting right there in blue shirt. One of the things that both the commissions do is hear legislative initiatives. So for instance, the update of our comprehensive plan was a legislative initiative.
Gotcha.
It's something that affects the entire community, but does not require specific timelines, such as the 120-day rule by which we must complete some decisions.
Okay.
There are usually, they're broader goals, they are aspirations, there may be policies and things in that document that we might be adopting. The quasi-judicial is where you're actually acting as a legislative body. You are making a decision based on clear and objective standards, and you use codes to help make that decision. Although, as you stated earlier, not everybody is happy with things like that, so there are ways that things can be mitigated, or you could say, I suggested that a condition be added to this that would help make this proposal a little better, and planning commissioners have the ability to do that. But it's generally the type of, and so the planning commission, as you are aware, makes recommendations on legislative items to the city commission, then we finalize them. Sometimes there are types of hearings that the planning commission does, and it doesn't come to the city commission unless it's appealed in some way.
Thank you. I would not have been able to explain that as well as you just did.
It was my career for about a million years. As he's rolling his eyes.
She's been
That
studying
was
a
a
lot.
short answer for you. Who's going to tease you when I'm gone?
Well, hopefully nobody.
I'll step up.
Attaboy there.
Do you have any questions for us?
How many positions are available for this particular year?
There is one, correct me, there are 2 vacancies coming up?
Oh, okay. I thought it was.
That's being voted on right now. What you're
I thought there was only one.
I thought there's only one opening.
Sorry, yes.
It's like, where's Jacob?
I thought it was one.
I thought there was one, but,
It's 1 and 3.
yeah.
3 applicants for one.
Yeah, so what happens, I believe the way ours is set up, that they're staggered.
Yes.
So there are going to be some coming up next year and probably the following year as well.
And they're 4-year,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And 2 are available for out of.
Yes.
I mean, I have an Oregon City resident.
You have an Oregon City.
An address.
Yes.
But I guess technically I'm not an Oregon City.
No, but we find, the
Resident.
reason that we added that is that we feel that people who are outside the city limits but within the urban growth boundary have a perspective that needs to be heard as well.
Yes.
There are different parts of the city that are yet to be developed, South End and going down Beaver Creek Road, some areas off of Holcomb Boulevard. And it's just because they don't live in the boundary doesn't mean that they don't have an opinion or have the ability to participate in our processes. We have several boards and commissions where we do allow, for instance, our library board, because our library district is way bigger than the city limits. We have people who live in the city and people who live outside the city.
Right.
And I believe we might have, Tony, do we have people on our track that also, we have some positions that are outside the city limits as well? I'm in my head thinking that I thought we did, yeah. So we're trying to provide opportunities for other voices to be heard. And I know that during our 2040 update process, we had a broad cross-section of people who not only lived in Oregon City, but lived in the unincorporated areas. And I thought we had a very robust and a very open process by which people could participate and give their input.
Great. If I'm not chosen for this position, what are ways that I can still participate in a meaningful way?
Well, there are a number of boards and commissions that are also, going to be coming up. We just filled a whole bunch of them last week, but there's always things that are available, and we would, obviously thoroughly encourage you to figure out other ways to get involved in case you aren't selected, because I think, again, I think from your perspective, you and others could provide valuable input. And just know that there's another planning commission position, or matter of fact, could you look that up real quick? What do we have coming up?
As in at the end of the year?
Well, because they're staggered.
Mm-hmm.
So is there one this year, and are there two next year, or how?
Yeah, let me look real quick.
Yeah, he's going to look up real quick, because I don't know that off the top of my head, and I don't think any of us know that off the top of our head.
Okay. Thank you.
That's why we have the efficiency expert over here.
Right. I will leave these. Thank
So
you.
there'll be two at the end of,
being here.
two at the end of the year.
Two more next
This
year?
Two more positions will become
The end of
vacant
this
at the end of the
year.
year.
Towards the end of this year.
Oh, towards the end of
Yeah,
this
it's
year.
24, their terms will end in 24. This
So then
position
you
is.
apply at the end of the year, right? Like it's every January we go through this process.
Yes.
Well, November, December is
Is
when
about
we
when,
open up
yeah.
for applications.
Right.
And generally, we make the decision at the end of December instead of now. We're actually maybe
We're a little bit behind because
About
of
this
people's
time next
availability,
year.
and things happen, so we understand that.
Well, thank you for your time and
Okay,
for
no, thank you
adjusting
very
to let
much.
me come in today.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So our next step is to, do we want to make the decision this evening? I presume that you do. So, Mr. O'Donnell, would you like to lead off the discussion, please?
Well, for me, it's always interesting because in some cases, we've had occasion to interact with some of the applicants, and some, all we see is their application and their brief time in front of us tonight, which is very difficult. I look over the past performance of some applicants, and I look over their knowledge base, and I take that into account in making what I would make when I make my recommendation. So some applicants have the advantage of a longer history and having interfaced with the commission members, and some, we only have a brief moment to get to know who they are. It's very difficult. So that's my comment on the application process and the applicants in general.
I would deny it, or we can put it on the 17th, which one seems like.
That's what I thought. I was just asking him to make sure that we'd advertise this I know we advertise this as a regular meeting, so we can make a decision if we want to this evening, or we can wait till the 17th. So, Mr. Morrow, do you have any comments in general?
I guess I would just echo what Commissioner O'Donnell said. I think for me, it's not necessarily a negative for me if someone has a willingness to show that they're going to learn. That was something that we all have had to do at some point, and so that's not necessarily a negative to me, but it is a positive to me when someone does come with that experience, and so that is kind of what's going on in the back of my head as I'm thinking and recalling the interviews that we had a couple weeks ago. So yeah, that's what I'll say for now.
Mr. Mitchell? I know Mr. Mitchell's your dad, excuse me, Commissioner Mitchell.
I guess I don't have anything different to say other than what the other two commissioners have already said. It is, yeah, there's an advantage to being a known quantity, or maybe a disadvantage to being a known quantity, as opposed to coming in new. So, yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add to that.
What do you think?
Yeah, I don't have anything in addition to that in general. I'm looking over, I mean, we have three very different candidates, and I don't know, what is our, do we have a normal process? Sometimes I think we do, sometimes we don't, in terms of how we go about it, but
I believe that the last time we all made comments, and then we had a motion, and then we voted, and
okay.
that's kind of how we did it. And again, as I said, I think I have a consensus from all of you. You want to make the decision tonight,
Yes.
as opposed to
Fine,
waiting
yeah.
to the 17th.
Sure.
And I agree with you as well.
Okay.
That would be fine. Well, I would say, I would just add to everything else you all said. I think that I'm always impressed with someone who is willing to step up, because being on the planning commission is not easy, as Mike and I very well know from having served ourselves. I think that there are many parts of being on the planning commission that definitely can be learned. It's not like you have to go to school like I did and you know, live, breathe it, and sleep it, you know, all the time. Again, the planning commission is, I wouldn't say that their workload is as heavy as it had been in the past with regard to working through the 2040, but we do have some legislative changes that may be coming forward, so that will require some study. But I think we, I would say of the three applicants, my opinion is that we have two very different candidates that I would narrow it down to, that I think either one of those people would be excellent for the commission. So it's up to you all. I can't make the motion. I can second motions, but I can't make a motion. But if you want, do you want me to suggest who I would support? I mean, I'm happy to say that out loud if you'd like. Before I start to sneeze, so excuse me.
You're looking at me, and I honestly think that the planning commission is one of the most critical jobs in this community. Yeah. Sometimes I don't even know if it's second to the city commission, or sometimes it's more critical than us. And it's a decision-making body. It's not advisory, and so it's big medicine. So I think we need to choose carefully. I'd be satisfied with either of two applicants for different reasons.
Yes.
But anyone's going to have to learn. You know, I mean, I don't know how specific we want to be. So I would take either of two applicants.
No, I think probably without reading your mind, I think you and I are probably in the same suggestion. So anyway, I would recommend.
I'll make a nomination then.
Okay, well, I was going to say, I would recommend, if we could have a motion, I would support us appointing Brandon Dole to the planning commission.
I would do that too, and I will say this. He had, in his case, an advantage. I had worked with him. I saw how his mind works. I know how knowledgeable he is. He will hit the ground running. I appreciate the young lady's, desire to do this, and I think at some future point, I can see her being a member of this or another commission. And
Well,
this-
and would remind that Brandon himself had previously applied once unsuccessfully.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He was unsuccessful at one point.
I'll second that nomination.
So, yeah, let's just leave it in
So
discussion.
did you make the nomination?
No, I don't think
I
you
just
did.
made a suggestion.
I didn't make it.
I
I was
made a
about ready to make it,
The
and then
planning commission.
Yes.
I was about
And
ready
you're gonna
to make
second.
it.
So you did make the motion?
Yes, he
Okay.
made the motion.
Okay,
and
and
you're
I'll second the
Yeah,
motion.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think our most recent applicant, I think anybody that has the background and knowledge of, I mean, to be honest with you, sometimes being on the planning commission is like being a doctor. And the knowledge that you have to deal with and the material you have to learn it's similar, it's a parallel track. So anyway, would you do the roll call, please?
Commissioner Adam Marl,
Aye.
Commissioner Rocky Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell,
Aye.
Commissioner Frank O'Donnell,
Aye.
and Mayor Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right. So didn't they just have a meeting last night?
Yes, yes, they
So
did.
Anyway, so we'll look forward to having our community development director onboard him and get him all shipshape. And maybe if he's not watching tonight, you'll let him know. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. All right. Do we want to move right into the next thing? Sure. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, we have to adjourn the regular meeting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the special meeting. Yeah, we need to,
So we might-
give us, we'll need 5 minutes because we've got paperwork here we need to deal with, so.